He is Lord, Lord of all.
Welcome back to On Point. We're continuing our series of studies through the New Testament, specifically on the letters of the Apostle Paul. And in doing that, we focused on the book of Romans. We now begin the book of 1 Corinthians. And in 1 Corinthians, the first 3 chapters, we learn very quickly that this is a congregation that's going through turmoil. Paul is going to advocate that they have unity, that they learn to love one another. He's going to advocate that there are some things they need to do to get their own lives right before they start to correct the lives of other people around them. One of the things that really is paramount to me understanding the book is in the first chapter, when he says in verse 10 to be perfectly joined together. Be perfectly joined. How do you do that? How are you perfectly knit together with someone within inside the Lord's body? I think that means that you begin to see yourself, as Paul will say here in chapter 3 and later chapter 6 and other places, that we need to see our bodies as the temple of God, and we need to see our mouths as the mouthpiece of God, and that we need to speak and say things that Christ would say, and we need to do things that Christ would do or has done. And that is the message to the church at Corinth. We're going to notice a lot of problems through these chapters. I mean, there's a lot of things that they went through. And I struggle with the fact that Paul calls them saints after he is going to share with us all the dirty laundry that they were struggling with. Immorality and giving was a problem. Taking the Lord's Supper was a problem. They didn't do it the way they were supposed to. They had women leaders jumping up in the middle of services, shouting out things, and all of that comes to head. And he says, finally, look, Chloe told me about what's going on down there, and we got to set some things straight. And I want us to think about when there are conflicts and there are things that come up, we need to make sure that we ourselves have our heart in the right place first. Are we really focusing on the things that we need to do to be better servants of God? How can we show more love and affection? How can we insert more integrity and wisdom to the conversation? Those are the things that we can focus on if we're going to face these kinds of dilemmas. And in the church, for those of us who are church leaders, to take a real hard look into the mirror and say, are these things I'm doing to ensure myself that I am being the leader I need to be, and that I'm guiding the church family to be more like Christ and to be perfectly joined together in unity, fulfilling that prayer of Jesus in John 17. So those are things we can take from this section of Scripture. I'm sure you have more thoughts. Would love to hear your thoughts. You can type them down in the comments of your favorite verses here in this section of Scripture, but we really appreciate you tuning in. We really appreciate you tuning in to On Point.
The storm, He is Lord.